Hi, you did reach Tamika with UC7 Private Investigations. Today is Saturday, January 12th, 2019. It's around 4:48 p.m. You can reach me by email at UC7privateinvestigations at gmail.com or UC7 Galactic Productions with an S at 87 at gmail.com. The information will be at the link below. My telephone number currently is 763-951-9882. Um, if you're looking for archive information about what channel I am displaying on, currently I'm on channel 16, which is the government access channel of public announcements, legal notices, or any other updates you would like to notify the public about. That's channel 16. They also have channel 17, which is if you're an artist looking to be discovered, you can air your artistry work on that channel. And they have mass levels of different talent you could produce here and show the public. As far as with 75, that's for the religion and faith channel. So if you gospel, your Christianity, whatever you feel that you want to bring out about your spirituality and faith, you can air that on channel 75. You can contact Val and Troy at details at 612-331-8575. Today, I'm currently doing a pub soft segment. This is a public announcement and legal notice. I wanted y'all to understand that I had to come into TV production because a lot of the governments that I am exposing through the public corruption and the government corruption has been stopping me for getting news airtime from Channel 5 News, Channel 9, Channel 11. A lot of the reporters that wanted to do my story got a gag order because some of them are under contracts. I'm currently being technology harassed and attacked. So you have to excuse a lot of the pauses, or if you see me, looking not myself all the time, because they have illegally for a long time, since I was a child, been injecting and researching with certain implants and microchipping and liquid agents that links to MK Ultra. You can check out this through the CIA, the FBI. There's a lot of whistleblowers that came clean about this. I was born December 7th, 1980 in Gary, Indiana. Something happened between that time frame all the way up until I was 6 years old when my grandfather had my mom urgently moved to Minnesota. From that time frame from birth to 6, all I remember is a lot of vivid details that they kept trying to distort and cover up. From the 50s and the 70s, they was working on certain MK Ultra projects. It was right after Tuskegee trials that a lot of the Soviet Union and other Hitler scientists and soldiers got asylum here in America. They formed the CIA and FBI, which also came under different administrations, known as the Bureau of Investigation before that, and other names. During that time frame, they merged with them. And after the Tuskegee trials, where they was injecting people with the LSD and they was injecting people with the diseases to see if their immune systems can fight it back, they mainly did a majority in African American soldiers, but don't get me wrong, others were subject to from other races. After that time, over the time during the archaeological finding, diggings, them forming Area 51 and all these other bomb shelters and underground locations, they were preparing just in case of another cosmic collision, or like the Bible, when the earth flooded, or say like if there was war, kind of like when they Pearl Harbor, did the Pearl Harbor bombing, they was preparing just in case, karma comes back and hit them from what they did to the Japanese. Now, my main concern is when they was building these underground tunnels, they was coming across old archaeological finding of Area 51 technology, which is alien and extraterrestrial grade technology. And it was highly unrecognizable to a human origin, meaning they didn't know what it was. But as they dig further, they noticed that there were some other species that was domiciling here on Earth. Have you ever heard about Putin talking about Atlantis rising? Atlantis went underwater, but there was also alien species that domiciled in Atlantean underwaters. That's why the Earth split a long time ago, because North America in Europe and everything used to be formed together as one. They used to call these certain territories from the British colonies and so forth. These elite families formed over a certain amount of time, starting to separate, the income and territory, kind of like monopoly. That's what that monopoly game stemmed from. Basically, during this time, it was a fight over territory. It was a fight over a family. That's what the mafia, and that's why they wanted the government mafia. That's why these elite families call themselves mafia. That's why these presidents and all these governments is, calling themselves mafia. It stemmed from public corruption, and they had to create the problem but play the solution. Now, over these areas of time, as they was digging in Area 51, and I know y'all see all the pyramid findings that's everywhere. During those pyramid findings, they also found other technology that was in there, and artifacts and things that was unexplainable. Once they made contact with these other alien civilizations from the satellites and all of the other stuff, that's why vibrational frequencies, that's why every time you see them digging, they found, what did they find? Dinosaur remains, Anunnaki remains. They found Sumerians. They found all type of different alien species that even some originals they still keep classified because they don't know how to explain it to the public. And then when some was found alive in Earth's core, they made an agreement with the government. The government saying, if you help us get power, we'll help you get what you need. And they just threw average American people as contracts illegally without consent. Well, my grandfather, Leonard Johnson, was in the military. And I grew up in Gary, Indiana. During that time from me being birthed to 6, there's a lot of illegal experimentation going on through the universities of Indiana, universities of Minnesota, universities of Chicago, and so forth. A lot of these politicians came from these universities and was illegally administering illegal research on a lot of people. Well, I found out, and my grandfather found out, that a lot of people at those universities was injecting these projects in my DNA because when I was born, someone raped me. So from birth to 6, it was a lot of rapes and a lot of explainable events that happened to my DNA. And with them doing it on astronomical dates and trying to cross parallels, dimension portals and realms, because you got to know about how life goes, life and death. Your body is a soul. Once your soul leaves this body, you go back to ashes and dust to dust. Your energy is generating this body vessel. Just like cars or computers, the whole processing unit, your body works the same way. Except there's a lot of things people don't tell you about certain souls. How you heard past lives or mediums that could read about spirits that passed on and couldn't move on until they got justice because they were murdered. I mean, there's so many different forms you can go about this, and I'm going to do this as this is my explaining certain secrets to what's going on, but it ain't secret when it's illegally done to you. This is that classified and confidential information. During the time from there, he was working on a lawsuit for me to stop them because when he found out I kept getting sick, and I was a very sick kid, weird things kept happening to me. My mom is scared to even talk about it. She freaks out like, I can't relive this no more. So I know something happened because when I was with my grandfather and my grandmother, I just remember being preyed on a lot. I remember he wouldn't really let me out his sight after a certain amount of time. And I remember when he kept going to people said, I could hear, what did y'all do to my grandbaby? And there's different like key memories, and they kept trying to, with these microchips and implants, I'm finding out because I was a kid, that there was implants inserted right here in the back of my nape area, right here under my chin. There was one inserted in my heart, there was one inserted in my navel, and there was one inserted in my cesarean area, and there was a plate in my ankle. Now, over time, if you get hit with EMP technology or like just imagine a wireless taser, because that's what it's pretty much like, microwave weapon, it activates. Now, each time over the years, instead of them removing these implants that you see a lot of whistleblowers and people who got theirs removed, something about me, they fought me day and night to not let that come out. Every time I tried to go there, they put me on a mental health hold. I have so much evidence and footage to expose to people who are involved in this. I have a 1,300 member page list that comes from the Indiana chapter of Masonry Illuminati. Now, a lot of these are fake postures that shares the last name, but they did illegal research by imposturing, fake licensing, um, doing criminal acts together, and then also merging with other people who got into their profession or show business or superstardom through these same illegal acts. Now, this is Evans, EVANS. They connected to Crystal Police case number 17020877. One of them stayed above me at the 5101 Bash Lake Road, Crystal, Minnesota, 55429. And I stayed in the lower unit 3 of the fourplex. She stayed in the upper unit 1. Her name was Waukesha Chabar Evans, 8/6/1978. You can see her mugshot up on Google. Her birthday is 8/6/1978. Then there was her sister, Sonia Michelle Evans. And then there's her brother and her sons, Darian Evans, Devondre Evans, Darius Evans, and there was a bunch of them. These people lived upstairs above me. I literally watched day and night as they interacting with the fourplex across the street. And then a lot of cops coming there and arresting people. They were drug entrapment artists. So if you ever bought or you was ever sold anything to them and you got arrested abruptly, I'm letting you know they were snitches and informing state and federal level of the government. I'm trying to get their risk program information, but it's been a lot of cover-ups on that. Then if you ever slept with these Evans, because they're notorious for sleeping with cops, agents, military, because that's how they get a lot of their cases thrown out, and that's how they blackmail some of these cops as well. So it's like a give and take situation. Well, my main concern is some of them even grew up with some of these officers or cops or their families, somebody in their family that either locked up or passed away, that, went through the hospitals, worked for the FBI, did something that got them some type of leeway, what do you call it, the snitch program, the informant program. They give you incentives to be crooks. And then they have innocent people set up so they can get off, and they get paid for it. So it's a business in this government doing business as. My main thing is, during this time frame, as I'm living at the 5101 Bash Lake Road, Crystal, Minnesota, 55429, I literally watched them doing business in and out across the street, and I'm looking like, why does the cops keep pulling up here? I mean, I used to sit in my car. You couldn't catch me smoking a cigarette in my car. I used to sit out of my car, run into the house, like, what the heck? I mean, left and right, all you seen was in and out traffic, sleeping, prostitution. The hallway smelled like something you say off a Players Club or whatever, but this or something. It just stank. It just smelled like old sex and a lot of disrespect, and there was a lot of drugs traveling in and out across the street. And they were setting these people up. Apparently, I was the set up target. When I moved in there, CIP, which is Community Involvement Program, were also engaged into some technology, and they were also had investors through banks and other things. Genesis Project, which connects back to Indiana. They were also engaging in contracting to test out their technologies. When they found out I was the grandchild of the man, Leonard Johnson, who was murdered in Gary, Indiana at 821 Virginia Street, Gary, Indiana, 46402, February of 2002, 2 months after my 21st birthday, I knew I had to be careful what I said then. And when a lot of stuff was registering over the years, I had to make sure I pulled things out precisely. Agenda 21 was similar to what they just try to pull now, where a lot of them messed up and a lot of things were faulty. Except they keep changing the name because each administration, everybody don't see the same views on how they want to think they're going to mass populate or dominate through mind control the world, because these people are psychotic, they're on drugs, and as long as you people keep voting for them or you don't know your laws to fight back, they're just going to keep using you. That's why they act like they're lawless. They pretty much sold us out to the foreign Traded with the Enemy Act a long time ago. All our money goes from the Department of Treasury, IRS, IRS to the Department of Treasury to Federal Reserve, then it goes to the International Monetary Funds, then it goes to the Bank of International Settlements, and then it goes to the World Bank and so forth, which goes to the elite families. These people chop it up. These presidents are appointed by these elite, long as they're doing their agenda and what they want. And then they do their own agendas on the side, because some of them always say, you know, well, we're going to end up taking over America and dump the elite side until they run out of money or screw up. And then they go back and say, hey, and then they set up other people to take the fall. Well, I know y'all wonder why we've been paying so many taxes. It's because of that. All them black projects, you know what our taxes went to? It went to those black Area 51 op projects. All that Area 51 technology, those UFO sightings, you people went crazy. They literally, is some universal energies here. Why do you think Antarctica melted and they can't explain those type of bone remains that they're finding? And even when you go to the pyramid site, like the movie The Mummy, the Scorpion King with Billy Zane, when they did those filming at some of those archaeological sites of those pyramids, they found a lot of technology too. That's why William G. Zane Sr., which is Billy Zane from the movie Mummy, the Scorpion King, license was found at that unit at the 5101 Bash Lake Road. It's a 1991-1992 license that gives you an encephalography technician, which deals with your brain, EKG, radiology training, ultrasonic training, dialysis training, and cardiology training. So that's dealing with your brain, your heart, your nervous system, your bloodstream, and plasma. So that gave them access to get the genealogy machine to be able to run to get your genetics code. Plus, someone gave them access to my medical files. Then on top of that, they gave them access to for blood, saliva, everything that you need, even with the dialysis, the cardiology, the heart, the brain. They was pretty much doing illegal medical research and experimentation over my head in Unit 1. Me and other neighbors caught them coming in with weird medical technology, wondering, like, how did they get that? But when we seen agents like that, that's either FBI, CIA. Me and my neighbor, she was, sister, that's the police. My neighbor, we seen this together. That was the government. She was warning me. I seen them come in on many occasions with black trucks with lots of weird equipment. Be careful, sister. Make sure you have a boyfriend or somebody there with you. She literally, and I was recording some weird stuff too, like what is going on. Because I'm hearing them talking and feeding back off devices sometimes. Like if my phone, I'm like, is my phone tapped? But then they also got surveillance equipment in the walls. And then they also had surveillance equipment, but not just that. They had the software that my grandparents was murdered for. So the Evans, along with other military, along with other cops and other sources, was trying to reinvent that Illuminati experiment that happened years ago when I was a baby, and their initiation. And when I heard it through the microchips, if you know about tinnitus and the other ways that it happened, something happened the way they do it. All I remember was being in the shower, I'm praying and getting zapped by wireless taser, high pulse energy, like it felt like your skin was on fire from the inside out or being shot. Over and over again. Every time my sons was hit by it, they didn't care if it was me or my sons. If it was just for me, my sons got wrapped up in it too. And then they hit me over a heart one night when I was asleep, where the chip that they was trying to navigate, they thought it was near my heart, but it was under my breast, and it ruptured under my breast, and it had a spray pattern like a shotgun BB hit me in the heart, that's military grade technology. It burnt through my gown, and it burnt and exploded the microchip. Well, the microchip that they busted was a crucifixion implant from Armageddon software and other type names that they changed the title to. During that process, my hair started falling out, my skin started breaking out, just weird medical health issues. Every time I went to the hospital, they was either threatening me with mental health hold, or they actually mental health holding me. Every time I said, okay, well, I called Texas, I called a couple of other doctors that was on YouTube as whistleblowers, such as even William Binney and Ted Gunderson that was murdered. He's a FBI, CIA whistleblower who was exposing these projects. Even, what's his name? Kevin Shipp. He's another one that was exposing the SES projects, which is a security something corporation. It's basically ex-military, a lot of black ops, performing these MK Ultra on certain DNA types of citizens or civilians that it kind of linked to, but they still testing it, or if they feel you a threat, or if they feel you defiant, if they want, the more they feel like it get close to mind controlling you, they hit you, they come after you even more, even come after somebody in your family. Well, that Genesis Project was what they was calling it in Indiana a long time ago, but it was also another name too. They keep changing the names of the administrations or these organizations every time a lawsuit occurs. A lot of these old microchips and implants are like Verichip, Trovan, Digital Angel. If they even call them RFID chips, but a lot of these implants are silicone and they're more alien software. And these are actually by extraterrestrial alien origins of species that's domiciled in Earth core. That's why you never get to go down to Area 51. That's why every time anything about an Area 51 sighting, there's big gates. That's why you get all these sightings of UFO sightings and crashes. And what they do is you saw the real thing, but they'll make a replica and say, oh, that was us testing out new equipment, hee hee. The whole point was to dumb down society and make it look like you were delusional or psychotic if you talk about it. They got away with it so long to where they was able to spend, trust me, it's not just in the trillions, try almost $1 zillion of black out budget money, because if you think about it, 11 trillion came missing, between 3 to 11 trillion every administration. And not just that, think of how many administrations went back. They used promissory note money, which is Federal Reserve note money. And from 1933 to 1934, what they did was Teddy Roosevelt signed the agreement. That was around some of the time after that, the other president formed with that gold seizure. Basically, they gave you Federal Reserve notes that was either certificate redeemed by gold or certificate redeemed by silver. I have one of the original dollars that shows that. They did it from 1933 to 1934, and then they turned around after the gold was seized. They stopped it after 1934. That would be the last year. If you get a 1935, you lucky, because when people started trying to redeem it for gold, they started either arresting them, putting them in debt prison, or making up some excuse. So they hurried up and snatched all the people's wealth and they hid it. And then they kept digging and digging and fracking and, using the oil, stealing the oil, which is the earth's blood. If you think about how the earth runs, why you think oil makes everything alive on all your technology. And then they turned around and started moving it around to like Switzerland, or to like Puerto Rico, or to like Amsterdam, or all these high World Bank locations of the elite. And a lot of them, like Trump melted his gold in his properties. Even the government here, they melted their gold throughout the government court buildings. I mean, you got to understand how to play their game, or beat them at their game when they're playing a game against our wealth and our life and our futures. And then some of them even so as to did different methods of hiding it through buildings, through warehouses, through all these different ways of hiding the wealth. Well, I did a common law affidavit lawsuit through common law methods at the county recorder and deeds. I did a public announcement through the newspaper, and I'm doing this public announcement on national TV. I am owed $42.7 billion in assets and securities. Part of it had to do with those projects they illegally did with me, and other of it had to do with some other inheritable lines of assets that were stolen. I'm here to redeem that. I am going to be looking for some people, whistleblowers, families that's coming forward, old veterans, anybody that can share their story or been trying to get some type of assistance from getting this exposed. And I would like to help you navigate your way through getting some type of recovery as well. Mine is successful. I can start the seizure process. I am going to need some reinforcement, so I am going to have to hire some hands to help me go after these government, corporate, fiduciary, city, state, local, federal, international, and global government entities. So they're not the real government, just to let you know. I'm going to let this be a 30-minute segment, and I am going to be doing editing and everything else later. I just want you to know the seriousness. I mean, you being attacked every day. This is my fourth or fifth phone number. All my computers are getting shut down. You getting zapped and hit, and people rolling around with these microchips and doing all this stuff. Well, these Evans are prostitutes. It's Evans, Williams, and Fishers. The name spells on this Illuminati list, but you must remind you these are Scottish Rite names, and a lot of them had either did something or worked for something and got these names to be able to join it. So a lot of these elite are not the true bloodlines of anything. They are imposters who had to sell contracts. And the thing is, if you're going to do a contract, do it with your own body. You don't do contracts on others and do it on their families, because in the common law days, it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So every family member that they wagered against you and your family without your consent, you can opt for them and their family with consent, with doing it legally, because these governments thought that they were lawless. It's time for the people to stand up and know your rights. Thank you for watching this segment. If you want to reach me, I will put the detailed link below, and each time I'm going to get better at perfecting this. I had to record this just in case something happened, because I'm tired of the threats, because I will self-defense and fight back. I've been trying to get someone to help me remove these implants that are malfunctioning. As you can see, you see it? It's a big lump. It's protruding right here. Like, everybody who felt it, like, wow, you could feel it. I'm like, no shit. The government put that there. So, excuse me for cussing. That might have to be bloopered and edited. But for all you people who's been illegally researched, subjected to prohibited illegal experimentation and research, illegal technology harassment, government corruption, political corruption, a whistleblower or a victim who's trying to get justice, please contact me at 763-951-9882. And also, please contact MTN Studios, which is www.mtnstudios.org. And you can find out more details of archives of information, or you can come to the address at 820 18th Avenue Northeast, Minneapolis, Minnesota 55418, and contact Val and Troy to get in touch with me at 612-331-8575. I look forward to having you on as a guest speaker to my show. Right now, you're going to see it as the effects come, because this is how all these news people and everybody in productions do. A lot of them have, background settings, and, it's all about the illusion of the eye. Me, I am learning this from the ground up. And I am not afraid to say it. So all my bloopers will be one day perfection, because since there's so many gag orders and contracts from the legal avenues, the media avenues, the technology avenues, and everybody who's in on it with these governments, the hospitals, and all these other sources, and the state entities, and everybody in the same money pot cesspool, they've been trying to gag order each other to not assist me exposing this. Well, I'm here to give justice for my grandfather, Leonard Johnson, Curtis Hall, and Barbara Jean Hall, my grandmother. That's my uncle, my grandmother, and my grandfather. They were murdered at 820 Virginia Street, Gary, Indiana, 46402. If you have any whereabouts, because his car was found in Michigan City. It was a triple homicide. It was called the Valentine Day Massacre. I've been trying to get subpoena to the Michigan City News company to get it released. They've been stalling me. I called the military. They hang up on me. I've been subpoenaing his military records and my uncle's military records, the ones that was murdered in Indiana, and they refused to give it to me. I go to the police because of the Evans, EVANS, have family that's working throughout Chicago and Indiana as government snitchers or cops, or they get in somehow to be able to screw people over. It's still not legal, but they make it look illegal if they in cop uniforms, or guys is this or guys in that. But these are informants, snitches, and drug entrapment artists and prostitutes that have did nothing but murder my family, set me up. They was trying to finish the Illuminati ritual that they parents or uncles or somebody in their family couldn't finish, to join to some type of reptilian morphine that this Illuminati, this deep state, Hollywood, and everybody been talking about. I have the license and everything to back this. This is Tamika with UC7 Private Investigation. Till the next time.